Hey guys, welcome back to AJ's Cooking Secrets. Today we're gonna make a Filipino rice cake called Palitaw. First you're gonna add your glutinous rice flour to a bowl, and then you're gonna add your water to make a smooth dough. I like to start off with half the water first and work that in, and if the dough seems dry, add the remaining water a tablespoon at a time. Once you have your dough, dust your surface with rice flour, add your dough on top of that, and then sprinkle the top of your dough with even more rice flour. From there, you're going to pat the dough out to about 1/4 to 1/8 of an inch thick. I find that if you're using a rolling pin, it really tends to stick to it a lot, so it's a lot easier to just use your hands for this. Next, go ahead and cut out 2-inch circles from the dough and transfer each one to a baking sheet dusted with rice flour, and you want to use a spatula here. These do have a tendency to break, so you want to be careful. Once you have everything cut out, set the palitaw aside so you can work on the toppings. The first topping we're going to work with is the frozen fresh coconut. Now the coconut I'm using tends to have a lot of liquid in it, so it's necessary to squeeze out as much liquid as possible, or else your palitaw will be very wet. So squeeze out as much liquid as you can, and then transfer it to a baking sheet lined with paper towels and dry it off completely with even more paper towels. Once dry, set it aside for later. The next topping we're working with is the sesame seed and sugar mixture, so place your sesame seeds into a pan and toast them over medium heat for about 4 to 5 minutes, just until golden brown and fragrant. Give them a little toss every now and then once they're toasted, place them into a mortar and pestle and grind them up until you have a mixture of crushed and whole seeds. Once ground up, add in your granulated sugar, give it a good mix, and place it into a serving dish and set it aside for later as well. Now it's finally time to cook the palitaw, so in a pot of boiling water, carefully drop in about 5 of your dough circles and cook them for about a minute. The rule of thumb here is basically when they float, they're done. Once they float, remove the palitaw with a slotted spoon, drain off any excess water, and blot the bottom of the spoon on a towel. Transfer your palitaw directly to the bed of coconut we dried off earlier and separate them and roll each one in the coconut to cover completely. Set them aside and work on the rest of your palitaw. Once you finish making your palitaw, go ahead and arrange them nicely on your serving platter. I'm just doing concentric circles here, and then once you have them nicely presented, you're going to sprinkle the top of them with your granulated sugar and your sesame seed mixture, and you're done. So here's our finished palitaw. Now just a little fun fact, this was actually one of the desserts I made last year for my graduation party when I graduated from the University of Washington. So palitaw is actually served one of 2 ways. It's either sprinkled with the sesame seed and the sugar mixture on top and served as is, or you can serve the sugar and sesame seed mixture on the side. Today I decided to do a little bit of both just because I like things a little bit more sweet, and I think that's one of the great things about palitaw, because your guests get to control how much sugar is going into their palitaw. Alright, let's give it a taste. So what I like to do is you take your rice cake, and I like to dip it a little bit more in the sugar and the sesame seed mixture, and so good. Right off the bat, you get the flavor of the roasted nutty sesame seed, and then you get the sweetness and that sort of granular texture from the granulated sugar. And then you get into sort of the flavor and the texture of the coconut, and once you finally get into the rice cake portion of the palitaw, it's very chewy, it gives a little, and it's very similar to the Japanese mochi. It's really good, and it's really simple too. There's only 4 ingredients in this, so it's really simple to make, and I would say it's pretty healthy. I mean, we don't have a lot of butter in this either, so I mean, it's pretty healthy, I would say. So if you like this video and this recipe, make sure you give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and make sure you leave a comment below letting me know what you think about this recipe and also what I should make next. And don't forget to follow my various social media accounts down below as well. Well, until next time guys, see you guys later. Alright, this looks so good. I decided to scoop up some Java chip ice cream so I can test out the salted caramel sauce. And literally, this is one of the easiest recipes you can whip up. So